Welcome to the Confessions of a Restaurateur podcast, where we talk about London's hospitality scene.
Join us as we explore the highs and the lows of being a business operator in one of the busiest cities in the world.
Trying out new ventures and exploring the business of food. I'm Omar Shah.
And I'm Florence Mae, and welcome to this week's episode.
Hey, how you doing?
It's been a while for us.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've had a little break. Restaurant life has gotten in the way of content creating. And so what have we been up to recently?
Recently, we have been completing the renovations for Bintang.
Well, I think it's kind of complete, just a few snags now.
Yes, final touches now, but it's all good. That's why we were kind of like...
Which, by the way, it looks absolutely beautiful. It looks like a completely different restaurant.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
Can we have the before and after pictures kind of edited in here? So, boom, this is what it looks like before. And this is after. Crazy, right? Yeah, so, I'm really impressed with it. I can't wait for it to kind of get hustly and bustly again. And the format has changed a little bit from what we initially had. It's been open since 1987, so it's 35 years old. And we've had to kind of change a few things, like we had to stop the BYOB. It just didn't make sense for us feasibly. People were there bringing their own booze in and sitting down for a couple. It was nice, a couple of hours and drinking a bottle of wine and probably spending an average spend of £25 per head. It's not feasible.
Oh no, I meant it's nice now. Like it's a nice change.
It's a nice change, yes. Yeah. But we'll get into that's another topic. That's another conversation.
Anyway, today we are here because we are talking about ramen.
Ramen.
All things ramen.
Well, the business of ramen, our business in ramen.
Our business, Ramo Ramen.
Specifically, how we started Ramo Ramen.
Yeah. All right. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. So let's start with...
Let's start with... What is ramen?
What is ramen?
I think you got this one.
How did I start ramen? Well, I invented ramen in my mother's basement. It started with leftover rice. I pushed through a spaghetti machine, and I know. Well, of course, I didn't start ramen. Ramen started. This is Mark's fun facts. So if they're wrong, I blame Mark. He's our researcher. All right. So ramen originated in China, but became popular in Japan in the early 20th century. All this time, for a while, I thought ramen started in Japan.
Yeah, so did I.
But the dish was brought to Japan by Chinese immigrants and quickly gained popularity as a cheap and filling meal. It was a peasant dish. Soup was sold to construction workers and was called Shina soba, meaning Chinese noodles. But after 1945 and the war with America and Japan, they had the worst rice harvest in 42 years. So wheat was the only ingredient probably available, and ramen became popular in the 1950s. So it's relatively still a very new genre of food, you would say. So
how many years has ramen been about then?
You do the maths. 2023 minus 1950.
You're the accountant. That's why I'm asking
you don't need to be an accountant.
That's why I asked
you. don't need to be an accountant to do the maths.
Is it because you can't do quick math?
Shall I buy you an abacus?
Oh my God.
Do you know what an abacus is?
I do know what an abacus is.
Listen.
Why can't you do this quick
I'm not gonna stoop.
In front of the cameras.
Are you serious?
For anybody that's known Omar as an accountant, this is... come on.
I'm not gonna give you the pleasure. All right, let's move forward.
Why not?
Let's move forward. My mind is blown. May, she's my partner.
You're my partner. Why can't you answer it?
Why can't you answer it? All right, listen. 2023 minus 90. Are you serious?
I'm not serious. I'm not going to answer this.
Nah, mate. Okay, let's do this because I'm embarrassed for both of us now. All right. Anyway.
You still didn't do it.
Yes. Anyway, listen. Japan, very quickly, like a lot of other things, they kind of like took on the ramen vibe and kind of made it their own, right, over time. They've done that, like, I guess, with a lot of things like what? Denim culture, the Americana culture. They've embraced that, and now the best kind of jeans are made in Japan. What else?
I'm not gonna lie.
The automobile industry, the technological industry of before Sony were the big players and Toyota and Honda and all these guys. But anyway, this is this is something that I don't think fits into this.
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing about the math question.
No, she's not laughing. She's still trying to work it out.
No, I'm sorry.
She's really still trying to work it out.
I'm just looking at him. Why hasn't he said
Listen, can you guys give me the answer in the comments, please? All right, how many years from?
Can we move on? Stop digressing.
Anyway, yes. And in 1958, a guy called Momofuku invented chicken ramen we know today. Well, what May really knows today, she lives on it, is those packet of noodles, which led to like cup of noodles.
Listen, I am very proud of that. Me and a lot of other people in the world live on that.
Yeah, I lived on that, mate. Shit, like that's your first.
You be trying to at my shin ramen, mate. That just got me through some tough times.
Well, it must be tough times every day because you
it is a tough time every day. I have a very stressful job, and what gets me through the day? A cup of shin ramen.
Okay. Well, that's her excuse for not lighting the gas on the hob.
No.
Because all she could do is press the button on the boiler on her kettle, and that's it. Boom, and that's dinner for the night. Anyway, moving along. All right, it's gonna get.
Are you getting violent because you couldn't answer that math question?
Mate. It's getting okay. Let's move along, mate. All right. So where are we? Yes, instant ramen. Okay, which that's probably the first vehicle of like culinary. I'm trying to bring it back, man. Bring it back.
Okay, wait.
That's the first experience of like culinary experimentation, you would say. You know, you have a packet of noodles, you throw some seasoning in there, you throw some hot water, and then boom, you could do what you want with it, man. May does it. She throws in a lot of cheese, by the way, and she makes her own kind of what's the dish?
Yeah, so like you can get inventive with it, and that's why I love it so much. You add whatever you want.
Whatever.
And like
throw in a piece of fried chicken.
A cheeseburger, whatever you want, fresh vegetables.
Yeah.
I think we need to start again.
A whole Sunday roast thrown into a cup of shin ramen.
Let's talk about Ramo Ramen, our ramen restaurant.
Yes.
Let's start talking about why you created Ramo and why you wanted to venture into that type of genre of food.
Well, in mid, like say 2014, 2013, at that point I was really, really obsessed with ramen. I mean, it was all over YouTube, and like there was David Chang came out with Momofuku, the restaurant, and his ramen. The amount of content that was coming out there just blew my mind. There was Life of a Chef, and I think I watched that clip where he makes the ramen 50 times over and over again, and I realized at that point in terms of what's available out there, there wasn't any really good non-pork based ramen dishes out in London. You had
because most of the ramens would be tonkotsu, which is like a really rich pork bone broth, cooked over days, and I was obsessed about capturing that mouthfeel through chicken or beef. At that point I thought, let's come up with something, and we created the chicken sopas ramen in Bintang Restaurant. And that's true.
We boiled the hell out of like wing tips, chicken feet, chicken carcasses, and we made a super sticky, rich chicken broth with the inspiration the flavor profile coming from a traditional Filipino soup dish called
chicken sopas.
Chicken sopas.
Which is traditionally like a light chicken broth, and then you'd add some milk to it or some cream. Which is delicious. Yeah, typically when you're sick, you'd have it.
Yeah, it has like little macaroni shells or something. Yeah. My mum would make a massive pot of this, and it'll just like stay in the stove top, and we'll just go back and do full refills. Yeah, like 3-4 times a night, mate. It was delicious. I always love to squeeze a little bit of lemon in it as well. Perfect dish, and that inspired us. What is ramen? Ramen is one of these. It's a noodle soup dish that kind of, it's heartwarming, it's filling, and it's comfort food. So that was sopas. Chicken sopas was something that comforted us, and I thought, wow, this will translate well into a ramen. You substitute
it does.
The macaroni. I mean, don't get me wrong, you just can't put noodles in soup and call it a ramen. There are particular stages and phases you need to respect and go through to make it a good ramen, to make it a classic ramen dish. Of course, it's still relatively new, as I explained earlier. And I feel you can experiment with different elements of it, but personally, I feel, the noodles need to be good ramen noodles. One of the main ingredients is like a konsui inside of it that helps maintain the pH, the right pH balance to allow it to still remain kind of firm and bouncy in a hot broth. Whereas if it didn't have a konsui, that alkaline element, then it'll kind of break down after a while, which like I think your Shin ramen does. Once when you're cooking it for half an hour, it turns into mush. But generally, you got your noodles, you have your tari, which is your seasoned soy. There needs to be a fat element to it. And the broth, generally is cooked for over maybe 20 hours, 24 hours, sometimes 2 days. In our case, it was over 2 days. We did use, in Bintang, when we started it, we did use a pressure cooker though.
Yeah.
That's because we didn't have much space to boil it over. We didn't have the time. And when you're in a rush, pressure cooker is great. It really cuts down the time you're going to cook out these bones and get all that good collagen and stickiness from it. So once I introduced it in Bintang, we did a topping of like, instead of char siu, which is you usually have a pork topping, we used
chicken.
I used the salt beef. So the broth,
the one you made in Bintang.
Yeah. So the broth was a chicken-based broth. The topping, we used the brisket. We brined it. We made our own kind of beef bacon. There was cream corn. It was delicious.
It was so good.
It was so good. I was super proud of it. And then every single time somebody ordered it in the kitchen, we were in the kitchen cooking, the printer would, how it goes, and people will see chicken sopas ramen, and all the chefs will be effing and blinding cursing me because everyone had to stop what they were doing, bring out a pot, get the stock broth out, get the toppings out. Someone needed to cook the noodles, and I had to all compile it all in one bowl just to sell it. The other, like I'll give you an example of other dishes would be like a pad thai, where in 2 minutes, boom, one chef will just stir fry that up and then plate that and send it, and we'll probably make more money and spend less time on a pad thai. But all of us had to stop. The customers absolutely loved the ramen dish, but it did not make sense. It wasn't feasible for a kitchen like Bintang. And I promised myself, I said, May, you know what? My heart is broken. Customers are upset. We took it off the menu. But I said, if there ever was another location, I want to open up a ramen restaurant, and I need to dedicate the kitchen, the whole production line to making ramen. You can't make a good ramen as an add-on on a general Pan Asian, wok fried setup. So.
I think the one we did at Bintang back then, it was relatively good, but just like you said, it was a big pain in the ass. And I think it was good that you went through that process then, because right after that, I think you just knew instantly how you wanted the setup to be, how you wanted the production line to be, and then
sometimes I think you got to work within those limitations and be really squeezed to how much can I produce within this scope I'm given, and you don't really know what your ideal wish list would be unless you're in that position. So sometimes it's good not to be given everything you want in one go, because you won't have those efficiencies worked out in your head already, right.
But like, that's why fast forward to you finding a space, or us finding a space for Ramo. It was very quick. Like, I've never seen you like create a menu faster than the one that you made, Ramo's. And I think in terms of systemizing it and organizing it and processing it as well, I think I could see you like your mind like expanded, and you were just like, okay, this is where we're gonna put this is where we're gonna put that, and we're gonna like basically do laps in this kitchen. And I think that's when you were like, my goal is for May to be able to make a ramen. And I was like,
and if she could make a ramen, then the system is good, yo.
I was like, here we go. You're just trying to skimp out on labor.
I'm not talking about Shin style ramen. I'm talking if she could make a really good bowl of ramen.
I'm just letting you know, my Shin ramen is elevated AF.
And I want to make it very clear, for us to execute a bowl in one of our Ramo restaurants, it takes us about 4 minutes, but the preparation time takes days, guys, days. Like I mentioned before, the fat element, the seasoned soy needs to be aged as well. We have great producers of consomme noodles, ramen noodles. We have our broth boiling in these 200-liter pots going for 2 days, and that needs to be filtered out. And it's just a massive process, huge logistics.
It was a journey.
But once you have all that under your belt, great. You could execute 2 to 4 minutes a great bowl of ramen, and that's another reason one of the other reasons or other factors that attracted me to that genre of food is the systemization of a dish like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like almost creating toppings on a pizza, you know, but you got to get it right. You know, it's so simple when you're plating it. So all these other elements, if you fuck it up, man, people are going to get it. Like there's there's less room for error there.
For sure.
But yeah, the trainability was a lot lower than maybe getting someone trained up in Bintang on the woks or in Guanabana on the grill and cooking, Caribbean food. So
I think with Ramo as well, I think it's one of our brands that I find most fun to make new dishes or new flavors because it's so, I wouldn't say easy, but the process has become so easy that when we have a new idea, it's fun to kind of execute it straight away.
Yeah. You don't have to take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned before, like ramen is a great vehicle for experimenting. Mm-hmm. You know, what you did with your pot noodles back in the days, could have lent us to what we are today, possibly.
Listen, I'll just have you guys all know, before Omar puts any dish on any menu, the first person he's consulting with is me.
Of course. Listen, it wouldn't go any other way. That
Filipino sprinkle touch.
It wouldn't go any other way. Some of that, yeah. Anyway, so we it evolved into that, and we found another place. And when that opened up, we set up the production line, but we took inspiration. A lot of the dishes, you said it came quite quick, but I think we were very clear about what we wanted to achieve with Ramo. The target market, who were they? We had to reverse engineer, and this is the first time we had to think about this restaurant business as a business. I mean, we had the opportunity to tackle it as a business. Mm-hmm. I mean, to explain that further, Bintang was made by my parents opened up in 1987. They did it, and they just sold food. The menu was like 20 pages long. I didn't really think about systemization or scalability or those aspects. It was just shit I wanted to cook. Now, when we opened it up, Ramo, yes, it was great things I wanted to cook, but we always thought about the process first. How can we teach this? How can we make sure that the flavors are great, but also consistent, whoever cooks it.
I think also a part of that is because as well, like before opening Ramo, we obviously opened up Mama Sons, and in doing that, we always kind of envisioned opening up more Mama Sons sites in the future. And I think when it was to do with Ramo, it was kind of the same. We always envisioned doing more of them and putting them in different places in London or maybe even outside of London. And I think having that in mind first of, damn, I'm going to have to open up like 5 more of these. How do I make it easier? How do I make it faster? How do I make it consistent in all of those sites? Whereas in Bintang and Guanabana, like the beauty of them is
they were
like
passion projects.
Yeah, you could do whatever the hell you want.
They were passion projects.
Put whatever you want out on the menu
with no intention to scale.
Yeah.
But when you approach a business like Ramo or Mama Sons with the intention to scale, you got to see if you got to approach it differently. You got to approach it with a plan. You got to approach it with consistency in mind as you scale. So I think that approach for Ramo helped us help create a great business
and a great restaurant
that allows us to kind of like step back a little bit and say, okay, we could keep that plate spinning without getting too involved. Great chefs in there, good front of house team, good drinks program, food program, marketing on point, and we could keep the lights on, so to speak. So yeah, that was one of the factors that kind of attracted us to that genre. And at that point as well, when it came to the target market, we were thinking there's nothing serving the Muslim community out there. So obviously, I know I've mentioned before, my mum's Catholic, my dad's Muslim. I've grown up in a household where it's been blessed by Jesus and Allah, and my food has come from both sides of the world. And
when people ask you what's your religion, this is my favorite thing, hearing you speak about it. What do you call yourself?
What do I call myself a Muslim.
No.
Oh, Muslim. She's saying Muslik.
No, you say that, but I know it's a joke, obviously. But that's funny. I find it funny.
You find it funny? Okay. All right.
Can you put it here?
Muslik. All right. So, but yeah, we would say like the food, and then it kind of, you know, I've tried a range of dishes that maybe weren't available for the Muslim community, and it allowed me to think out the box and produce something that had that same probably comfort you would get in, you know, non-halal dishes. And for us, I thought, okay, definitely I want rich broth ramens to be on the forefront of our dishes. Given our background, I really wanted it to have a Filipino narrative. We discussed this in depth.
Yeah, I think that was important to us, that it had a very strong Filipino narrative as
not only does the Filipino narrative lend itself towards creating some exciting new ramen dishes, and we have a huge selection of soup dishes, classic soup dishes, traditional soup dishes in Philippines, like sinigang, like the sopas at home, like bulalo, and those are really, you know, they're something that we all grown up with. So we wanted that to be a familiar platform for Filipino diners, but also different enough, and that's where the ramen bit came in. But also for like the ramen demographic, ramen heads out there in London who love and have tried ramen, probably in places like Bone Daddy's and Shoyu Ramen, and what else? Bone Daddy's, Shoyu Ramen. Who were the big players? Tonkotsu. It was something different for them as well.
Yeah.
You know, so we had all these target markets. There's the Muslim demographic, our Filipino demographic, and for the ramen heads, where that kind of ticked all the boxes. So it felt like, yeah, there's definitely a market here. We definitely could tap into a market with this very unique concept. You know, this is, a lot of people now feel like Filipino ramen, they pass by Soho or Camden, they think this is an actual traditional thing, where no, this is born and bred and made in London. This is a London thing based on the upbringings of myself and the inspiration of food from Mae and our background and what we both grew up and ate as children, you know. So, but being in London, you wouldn't find Ramo anywhere else in the world, and the food we serve is very unique to that. So this is a very much a London-based ramen restaurant.
2, 1.
Yeah, so I mean, the Filipino inspiration there has been very heavy. It's not. I mean, it doesn't mean this is our box. We're very playful.
No, I think it's just what makes us stand out and what makes us different.
Exactly. You know. So, but with that said, my dad kind of got annoyed with me. He's like, "What's What's going on? You got Filipino ice cream, Filipino ramen, and because of that, I introduced the lamb Tanta Man. It's like a lamb keema ramen. You know, the keema.
Delicious.
It's delicious with a Bangladeshi lime on top, super fragrant. The flavors, we only sell that in Kentish Town though.
Yeah.
Right, but that was in honor of my Bangladeshi heritage. So, yeah, we're just having fun here, and that's you know, with ramen, like we said before, that's one of these things we could do. But predominantly, like Filipinos are trained to Flavor Town, and some of those dishes.
No, I think for me, like, I think obviously because I'm full Filipino, so Filipino flavors resonate very deeply, and if we can put it in any dish, I think when it comes to mind, I tell you about it straight away. If we can put that into any of our food, or
for example
of our ramen. For example,
some of Mae's favorite.
What?
What's your sinigang ramen? Is that your favorite?
Yeah. I think like it's different enough for people to understand that it's not a traditional sinigang, but
we're going to talk about what a sinigang is for some people who don't know.
Yeah, so sinigang is a sour broth soup, and normally the protein is like, you can have it with whatever you want.
Yeah, fish, chicken, and pork, whatever it is, yeah. So we do a seafood sinigang.
We do a seafood one, yes.
Yeah, we do a seafood sinigang. The sour element is tamarind, and the toppings are prawns. We do like
lots of vegetables.
Yeah, great. It's a great punchy dish.
Yeah.
Right? It's a firm favorite in Ramo. And we also have, what else is there? There's the lobster ginataan. That's exclusive for Soho.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that one?
Ginataan is like a pumpkin coconut curry type of stew.
Yeah.
It's traditionally served with crab, but in Soho we changed it up to do it with lobster
because it's just easier to eat. It looks a bit bougie as well. Customers seem to
there's that wow factor as well.
Exactly, but we do have our broth is a mixture of like a crab, fish and chicken broth, and it's super creamy because of the coconut milk. That is one of my favorites. We have
it is very good
oxtail curry, which by the way we won Battle of the Broths. We were up against tonkotsu, K3, a couple other joints which I can't remember. And we created 1,000 portions for people to try and vote on, and we won the belt, Battle of the Broths. That was an epic day. It kind of allowed us to rest easy because obviously this is something that's very new, and being on a ramen scene, you know, how do you feel embraced? And it kind of allowed us to feel like,
I think we were worried as well because we were doing non-pork broths
and everyone was doing pork broths, and
it was like the battle of the pork broths.
But this was a very sticky beef broth. A beef broth was enriched by like cow foot. It was a shit ton of bones and marrow, and
then that
super
hint of peanut throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, the creaminess came from the peanut the dish was inspired by kari, which is like a peanut stew in the Philippines, you know, usually cooked with oxtail. So the oxtail element, we would take it off the bone,
pull it
use
apart
it as a topping.
Beautiful
dish, and we won, and we got the belt, and that was a great day, and it kind of put us a little bit on the map, you know.
You know what? Fun fact.
Yeah.
A lot of our Filipino customers ask for rice on the side when they have the ramens.
Yeah, right. That's cool though.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. You know, double starch. Why not? But yeah, one of our newer dishes is a caldereta. You want to talk about caldereta?
Caldereta is like a tomato lamb, again, stew with like potatoes and
traditionally
carrots.
Made with goat though.
Yeah.
Kambing caldereta. Yeah. Goat caldereta.
Goat,
Yeah, and we did a Wagyu version for Soho. It was partly inspired by obviously the dish, but I was, you know, desperate to make a Wagyu ramen. I went to a pop-up made by Mashi no Mashi. They're like Wagyu Mafia guys, and they're like superstar, rock star.
That was like
they toured the world, sold out tickets around the world.
He's basically
doing
Beyonce.
Restaurant pop-ups. Yeah, exactly. And he had a stint in Market Halls in Tottenham Road. Yeah, I remember buying tickets and it sold out within like 2 minutes. I got a call back saying, I'm sorry, we oversold you the tickets and we sold it to you accidentally. We have to cancel it. We're issuing you a refund. I was like, who the fuck are these people, man? It's like I booked a ticket for Beyonce or something, you know? But anyway, I went there. I went straight to the store. I went to the event anyway, and I kind of blagged the seat and said, I didn't know that it was canceled. This is my ticket.
By the way, I was so upset when he told me he booked a ticket just for himself. But when he told me how hard
higher chance of me getting a ticket with one, right? But did I get you one?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
It was an impulse buy, guys. It wasn't planned. Yeah, it wasn't planned. You would have appreciated it anyway. Nah, she would have. She would have loved it. But yeah, I took lots of photos and videos to show her. And
no, it was good. It was good. I think your story of getting there as well, I don't think we could have achieved that as a two. So well done for getting in.
Yeah, no, that was cool. They managed to shove some people up on the bar and gave me a seat and presented the ramen. Very theatrical evening.
How much was it again?
It was £80 a damn bowl, man. £75 plus service, whatever. But £80 a bowl of ramen, yo. And I can't believe I spent that kind. And that's the probably reason why I didn't do it, because you would have cussed me out for spending £80 on a bowl of ramen. So I just did it on a D-Lo, and I went on my Jack Jones. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Was it value for the whole experience and the theatrics of them serving you? They were very loud and flamboyant. Yeah, it was a great experience. But would I do it again? Never in a million years. But what it did tell me, and these guys selling out, that London needed a Wagyu Ramen, and that's what we came up with, and that's why we pushed it on the Soho branch.
Yes.
Right? It's a successful dish.
Man, too successful. I don't think
we sell out a lot. So
we couldn't keep up with the demand, so we had to make it a seasonal dish.
And it was hard finding halal Wagyu as well.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest challenges, finding that product. I mean, usually A5 Japanese Wagyu is impossible to get, from what I know, halal. They don't do it halal.
Yeah.
So you have to find very different variations. You know, there's Chilean Wagyu where the breed is taken out there. Great marbling. There's grading system as well. Not the same as Japan, but great marbling. There's Australian Wagyu. So you could get that great, umptuous, velvety, creamy mouthful, fatty mouthful you get from a traditional. It may not be A5, but I don't think you need that. And
I think because, like, you know, the right ramen broth is very rich or very filling already. You don't want something too, you know...
especially if it's chunks
yeah,
of meat.
You don't want anything too rich.
And it also allowed us to explore maybe the less in-demand cuts of Wagyu, which kind of allowed us to bring in and home in our price point. Even though it was Wagyu, what did we charge for that dish?
I want to say 22.
No, it's more than that. I won't be
the original price. 24.
That's the bowl. It was about £28 a bowl. Yeah, that was £28 a bowl, and 28 to £30 a bowl. And they managed to home it in based on the cuts we were getting. You know, so we weren't using typical cuts like in-demand cuts like ribeye or sirloin because of the stewed element. You know, we were allowed to use maybe we use a cut called tri-tip, which is. It's not a usual cut used in the UK, but it's super beautiful. It's delicious. I recommend trying it. Okay. So yeah, if you want 25 now. 25. Oh, we brought it. We aren't even making money on that. So before we change it, guys, go to the store.
25.
Order it. We're making a loss. Help us lose money and come to Soho and order a Wagyu ramen at 20. Fucking hell, we better put the prices up. Anyway, yeah, and we. That's our menu now. You know, it's a different menu. Soho, there's a higher price point. There's a bit more kind of, you know, posher, bougier in Soho compared to Kentish. Kentish Town is more of a neighborhood joint. You know, so you have the local neighborhoods based. I mean, during lockdown and that whole period of people being scared to go out, Kentish Town was super busy. We never had Soho yet.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we managed to get, I mean, if you check out our other blog talking about the leases, and we'll explain further how we managed to get the Soho branch, and we took a risk on it, and it's doing very well, and it's paid off.
I think as well, like, what's interesting about our Soho branch is that it's the first one where we fully exercised the whole small plates concept in any of our restaurants.
That's Soho, man, right?
But we had to. We had
to because, yeah, I guess people in Soho for some reason like eating off small plates, you know? And, yeah,
they like variety.
I kind of like it now, man. I've been in Soho a few times, small plates. Yeah, why not? You know,
10 dishes later, £200 bill later.
Yeah, but not in Ramo. We got a good price point, so come down and visit us. Especially that Wagyu dish.
Yeah. But I think our small plates, that was a very fun experiment for us, and I think
in Philippines we don't do small plates.
Nah, they're large plates.
Everyone's a big plate. We do big sharing plates.
They're called family platters.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but it's cool to see some of the other dishes that aren't ramen but still have that Filipino flavor into it. Like, for example, the scallops. That's kind of like one of my favorite dishes there right now.
We got the garlic bread, which is made in our bakery. It's made from pan de saldo. Super dope. Kinilaw, octopus kinilaw.
Yeah.
I
think those three are probably my top favorite things.
For the small plates dishes, yeah. And then obviously the drinks program has led itself to, you got Red Horse on the menu as well.
Yeah.
It's really cool to kind of present all these ingredients from Philippines. And
like, if I think about all my favorite Filipino things or dishes that I would want to have, I feel like that would be the goal for the restaurants, going in and having like a drink that has a good, like the calamansi margarita is just, you can't get that anywhere else now.
We were like the first restaurant, Filipino restaurant in Soho, which is cool. And it was just opposite Mama San's. Well, a 5-10 minute walk from Mama San's Chinatown, which is nice as well. But yeah, you know, where are we going now? Where is the whole kind of ramen scene what's happening, you know, having that mashi no mashi experience. Obviously that's high in at a price point, primarily due to the hype these guys create, and they were great hype creators, great marketers.
Do you think for Ramo, obviously there's two things there. Where will ramen like itself, the cuisine, be, but where will Ramo be in that? Do you think? Are we going to follow that trend, or are we going to?
I'm breaking it down. So I think Japan right now has probably had, you know, since the Michelin grading began, the highest number of like awards they've ever had for ramen restaurants in Japan. And I kind of see the whole ramen game becoming a lot more sophisticated and elevated, you know. So there's scope for us to maybe take a turn and open up a branch where we really push the boundary.
High end
kind of ramen. On the other side, where cost is involved, and operating a restaurant in London is a nosebleed experience, man. It gives you
trauma,
heart palpitations thinking about these bills, these rates, the inflation rates of produce and staffing costs. So on the other side of it, there's that whole format of like, what attracts me maybe for future Ramos is maybe having a bar set up where people will come to the bar, and the chef in essence will take away the aspect of needing a separate waiter, and they'll serve them directly and pay them. I
love that experience far more.
I mean, Japan, they have everywhere that you got to pay before, and you have a ticket and you give it to your server. I mean, you know, it takes maybe what you miss in that kind of interaction with a waiter, you gain in the whole theatrical experience of watching a chef, make and create your food.
Yeah.
You know, whereas omakase vibe is blowing up, people are used to eating on that bar, and that format is really taking off. So, not only because it's a cool experience, but for cost purposes and efficiencies, that's where I think the format of ramen restaurants should go, or where we should go at least.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe both.
Maybe both. Yeah, why not both? Of course, yeah. So I would like, man. I would like to win a Michelin star, you know, or at least a bib in Ramo.
I reckon we could do it.
That would be cool. But yeah, it's exciting times. I mean, it's sky's the limit for, you know, your imagination and what you could do. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we do next. Has anything happened with Ramo? We're looking around. We're looking around for a third branch, so we'll keep you updated. Mae's got these vlogs out now, so keep an eye out for our vlogs. They're super fun, really.
Why'd you bait me like that?
Huge BTS scenes to see what goes on, and to meet the whole team. But yeah, this is ramen. This is Ramo. This is what we do. This is what we've been doing. And thanks for watching.
And hopefully it won't take us too long to record our next podcast.
Yes. All right. And if you liked us, please like, subscribe, comment. Tell us where you want us to maybe open up another Ramo. Any particular dishes you'd like to see there.
East Londoners, we're coming for you. Don't worry. We've got you.
Any Filipino dishes you think, you know what, that would be a cool ramen dish, yo. So.
Or if you guys want us to talk about something else that we don't normally cover.
Yeah, so
let us know.
If there's anything, hopefully you got some value in this conversation, and then, you know, this whole food business thing is a bit of.
Comment below. Tell me what your favorite ramen instant noodle ramen is. Like, I kind of fumbled that up, didn't I?
Well, I know Mae's definitely going to comment. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to comment. But comment below and tell me what your favorite instant ramen. I can't say it.
Because she's getting hungry. She's salivating.
I am.
She's just forgotten how to speak.
Wait, let me say it one more time.
All right, go on.
Matthew, make this sound right. But comment below what your favorite instant ramen noodles are. Because I want to know to see if I've tried them yet or not.
Very good, Mae. Very good. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching. Out.